Hello students, welcome to the second part of chapter number 12, that is electricity. In first part we have discussed about the electric potential, potential difference, electric current and Ohm's law. Over there we have discussed about the resistance. Now in this part we'll discuss about resistance in detail, then types of combination of resistances, then what all are the possible ways in which we can combine different resistances. Then we'll discuss about electric power and finally heating effect of electric current. So let's start our video with the resistance. Now about resistance we have discussed in our very first part, that is resistance is basically the property of a conductor due to which it opposes the flow of electric current through it. That means resistance, it basically opposes the flow of current. This formula we derive from Ohm's law, that R is equals to V by I and SI unit for resistance is Ohm. These things we have discussed in first part. Now let's discuss about the factors that will affect the value of resistance of a conductor. Now basically we are having four factors that will affect the resistance of a conductor. The very first effect is the length of a conductor. Now resistance of a conductor is always directly proportional to the length of a conductor. Suppose we are having two wires here. One is having length L, the other wire is having length, suppose 2L. Now if resistance of this wire is L. Now here if length is double, now what we have stated that resistance is directly proportional to length. When length will be doubled, then resistance will also get doubled. And if a wire is there, suppose its resistance is R and length is L. And another wire I am having, suppose whose length is L by 2. Then in this case its resistance will also reduce to half, because resistance and length, they are directly proportional. When length will be double, the resistance will also be double, and when length will be reduced to half, then resistance will also reduce to half. Second one is the area of cross section of the conductor. Now area of cross section of a conductor is inversely proportional to the resistance of a conductor. This is the relationship between resistance and area of cross section. If area is doubled, if area of a conductor is doubled, then resistance will reduce to half. And if area is reduced to half, then resistance will be double. Let's consider. Suppose a wire is there. Let us suppose its area is A and resistance is R. If I double the area of a wire, here I have doubled the area of this, area of cross section of this wire, then its resistance, what will happen to the resistance? Now we have stated that resistance and area of cross section will be inversely proportional. Now if it will be doubled, so resistance will be reduced to half. If its resistance is R, so its resistance will be R by 2. In the similar way, if a wire is there, suppose this is A. If I take another wire whose area of cross section is half, now in this case the resistance will be twice. This was about the area of cross section of the conductor. Next one is the nature of material of the conductor. Now the resistance of a conductor will depend on the nature of material of which that wire is made. If a wire is made up of aluminium or copper or silver, then on the basis of that its resistance will also vary. And last factor is the temperature. For metals we can say that resistance will be directly proportional to temperature. That means we can say that with the increase in temperature the resistance of metals also increases. But for alloys the resistance will also almost remains unaffected. This was about the resistance and the factors affecting the resistance of a conductor. Next is resistivity. Now from the factors affecting the value of a resistance, we can say that R is directly proportional to L and R is directly proportional to 1 by A. That is, R is inversely proportional to area. So I can mention these two things like this in a common way, that is R is directly proportional to L by A. It indicates that R is directly proportional to L and R is inversely proportional to A. Now here proportionality sign is there. If I want to replace proportionality sign with the equal to sign, then I have to introduce a constant of proportionality here. So this rho is the constant of proportionality. Now this rho here is known as resistivity. So from this we can say that R is equals to rho L by A, where this symbol, it is rho. Rho is the constant of proportionality here, which is representing resistivity. Now how we can define resistivity? Now from here we can say that resistivity is equals to R into A by L. That mathematically resistivity is equal to the resistance of a conductor offered by a conductor having unit length and unit area of cross section. Now next is the SI unit of resistivity. SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. If we talk about the factors affecting the resistivity, then resistivity only depends on two factors. One is your nature of material and second one is your temperature. Resistivity will not depend on the length of a conductor and area of cross section. It will only depend on these two factors. Next is, let's discuss numerical based on resistance and resistivity. The very first numerical is a 6 ohm resistance wire is doubled up by folding. Calculate the new resistance of a wire. Suppose a wire is given whose resistance is R. Let us suppose its length is L. Its area of cross section is A. Now we have doubled up that wire. When you will double that wire, so what will happen? Its area will be doubled and its length will be reduced to half. So we have to calculate the resistance of this particular wire. Now let's suppose that the length of the original wire having resistance 6 ohm, let it be L. The area of cross section of the wire, let it be A. The resistivity of the wire, let it be rho. Now resistance of wire, we have suppose it to be R. It is given as 6 ohm. Now we know that R is equals to rho L by A. So we'll substitute the value of R here. So what you'll get, that rho L by A is equals to 6. This is our first equation. Now when wire is doubled up by folding, that means when we have folded the wire, then what will happen? The length of the new wire obtained by folding, let us suppose it is L dash. Now when you will fold up the wire, so what will happen? The new wire, the new length of the wire, it will be half of the length of original wire. So we can say that L dash will be equal to L by 2. Next is area of cross section of the new wire, let it be A dash. Now when you will fold up, so area will become double the previous case. So A dash will be equal to 2A. Resistivity of the new wire. Now resistivity will not change. Resistivity of the previous wire and the new wire, it will remain same, because we have studied that resistivity will only depend on the nature of material and temperature, and here we are not changing the material of the wire. The wire is same, just we have changed the length and area of cross section. So because of that, resistivity in both the cases it will be same. Now resistance of the new wire, let it be R dash. Now we know that R is equals to rho L by A. So from that we can say that R dash will be equal to rho L dash by A dash. Now we'll substitute these values in this. R dash is equals to rho as it is. Instead of L dash, what we can write? L by 2. Instead of A dash, we can write 2A. So on solving it, what you'll get? Rho L by 4A. Now what we'll do? We'll substitute the value of rho L by A from equation 1. So when you will substitute that value, so instead of rho L by A, what I can write? 6. So R dash will be equal to 6 by 4. That is 1.5 ohm. So we can say that the resistance of the new wire obtained by folding and doubling the previous wire will be 1.5 ohm. Now next numerical is resistance of a metal wire of length 1 meter is 26 ohm at 20 degrees Celsius. If the diameter of the wire is 0.3 millimeter, what will be the resistivity of the metal at that temperature? Here in this question, we are given with the length of a wire which is 1 meter, resistance of a wire is 26 ohm, and the diameter of wire is 0.3 millimeter, and we have to calculate the resistivity of the metal at that temperature. Now First of all, we'll write what all is given in the statement of the numerical. Now resistance here is R, which is given to be 26 ohm. Length of the wire L, it is also given as 1 meter. Diameter of the wire is given as 0.3 millimeter. Now one thing, diameter here is given in millimeter and we want it should be in meter. So first of all, we'll convert millimeter into meter. So 0.3 millimeter will be equal to 0.3 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Now here we have to calculate the resistivity of the wire. Now the formula for calculating the resistivity of a wire is from this formula, that is R is equals to rho L by A. So we'll write this formula in terms of resistivity, that is resistivity is equals to R into A by L. Now if we compare this formula from our given, R is given here, L is given here, but area is not given. Instead of area, they have given the value of diameter. So first of all, we'll calculate the value of area. Now what we are just considering that the area of cross section of a wire is circular. So for that we'll use the area of circle here, that is A is equals to pi r square. For this we'll require the value of r, that is radius, but here the diameter is given. So first of all we'll calculate radius of a wire, which is equal to half of the diameter. Now diameter is 0.3 into 10 to the power minus 3, so radius will be half of it, that is 0.15 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Now we'll substitute the value of radius in the formula for area. Now area will be equal to the value of pi I have taken as 22 by 7 into radius square, that is 0.15 into 10 to the power minus 3 square. Now on solving this square portion, what you will get, 22 by 7 into 0.0225 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter square. This is the area of a wire. Now we have calculated the value of area also. Now we will substitute the value of area, length and resistance in the formula of resistivity. So from this we can say that resistivity of a wire rho is equals to 26. Value of R here is 26, so I have substituted that. 22 by 7 into 0.0225 into 10 to the power minus 6 divided by 7 is the value of area, and length is given as 1. So on solving it, you will get it to be 1.84 into 10 to the power minus 6 ohm meter. So we can say that the resistivity of the wire is this. Next is combination of resistances. That means what all are the possible combinations. What all are the possible ways in which we can combine different resistors. Now basically we are having two combinations. One is series combination, the second one is parallel combination. So let's discuss about series combination. When the number of resistances are connected end to end, that means if this is the one resistor and at the same end if you will connect the other resistor and at the same end again you will connect the third resistor, then such a combination is known as series combination. That means they are connected end to end. If we talk about parallel combination, so in parallel combination resistances are connected between the same two points. Suppose if I have taken these 2 points as the common, one is this and the other is this. If I connect the resistors between these 2 points, then they are said to be in parallel. So here I have connected R1 and R2 between these 2 points. So here R1 and R2 are in parallel and here R1 and R2 are in series. Now let's discuss the properties of the series combination. In series combination, current flowing through each resistor will be equal to the current flowing in the whole circuit. Suppose I have taken 2 resistors connected to a battery with the help of a key. Now here if I switch on the key, then current will start to flow. Let the total current flowing through the circuit as I. Then the same current I will flow through R1 also and the same current I will flow through R2. That is, in this circuit the current flowing is same. But if we talk about the potential difference, suppose if V is the potential difference of the battery, then same potential will not be there across R1 and R2. It will be different. Here it may be V1, here it may be V2 depending on the value of these resistances. But these values will be adjusted such that total potential must be equal to the sum of individual potential. That is V1 plus V2 must be equal to the total potential of the battery. But if we talk about the parallel combination of resistances here, the potential difference across each resistor will be equal to the voltage of the battery. Suppose here I have connected two resistors in parallel with the battery. Now if V is the voltage of the battery, now in this case across this also the same potential V will be there, which is supplied by the battery, and across R2 also the potential will be same. That means in this the potential across the resistors will be equal to the potential of the battery. But if we talk about the current, if here the total current I is flowing in the circuit, then the current flowing across both the resistors will be different depending on the value of resistances. It may be I1, it may be I2, but this total current must be equal to the individual current flowing across these resistors. That is, I1 plus I2 must be equal to the total current. Next is resultant resistance of three resistances when connected in series. That means if we'll connect three resistors in series, then what will be the total resistance, equivalent resistance, when these three resistors will be connected in series. Now here I have connected three resistors having value R1, R2 and R3. Now they all are connected in series with a battery of V volt. Now let R be the total resistance of these three resistors having resistance R1, R2, R3 when connected in series. Now when I connect it to battery, let us suppose the total current flows is I. Now what we have discussed, that in series current across the different resistors will be equal to the total current of the circuit. So the same current I will flow through R1 also, R2 also and R3 also. But we have discussed that the potential difference across different resistors will be different. So if V is the total potential of the battery, so V1 will be across R1, V2 will be R2 and V3 will be across R3, such that their total sum must be equal to the potential difference offered by the battery. So let's start with our derivation. Now we have stated that the total voltage of the battery must be equal to the total potential difference across all the three resistors. Now V is the total potential of the battery, V1 is the potential across resistor R1, V2 is across R2 and V3 is the potential across resistor R3. Now from Ohm's law we can write this potential as V is equals to IR. Now V is the total potential, I is the total current and R is the total resistance, equivalent resistance of these three resistors. Next is V1. V1 is across R1. Now across R1 we know that the current is also I. So we can say that V1 will be equal to I into R1. Now V2 is across R2, so V2 will be given by I into R3. In the similar way V3 will be equal to I into R3. Now we'll substitute all these values in this equation 1. So we'll get IR is equals to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. Taking I as common, you're left with R1 plus R2 plus R3. Now I will get cancelled out, so we're left with R is equals to R1 plus R2 plus R3. That means I can say that the total resistance or the equivalent resistance of the three resistors when connected in series will be equal to the sum of individual resistances. Next is resultant resistance of three resistors when connected in parallel. So here I have connected three resistors having resistance R1, R2 and R3 in parallel across a battery of voltage having V. Now if I is the total current flowing through the circuit, then we have discussed earlier also that the current flowing through R1, R2 and R3 in case of parallel will be different. If I is the total current, so I1 will be across R1, I2 will be across R2 and I3 is the current across resistor R3. Second thing is the potential difference across each resistor will be equal to the potential difference offered by the battery. If battery is offering a potential difference of V volt, then same potential will be there across R1, across R2 and across R3 also. Now here the current will divide such that I1 plus I2 plus I3 will be equal to the total current flowing in the circuit, that is I. So let's start. Now the total current in the circuit will be equal to the total current across the three resistors. Now we have already stated that I1, I2 and I3 is the current across resistor R1, R2 and R3 respectively. So we can say that this total current I will be equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Now using Ohm's law, I can write I in terms of V and R. If I is the total current, so it could be written as V by R, where V is the total voltage across the battery offered by the battery and R is the total resistance, total equivalent resistance when all the three resistances are connected in parallel. In the similar way, I1 will be equal to V by R1. I2 is the current across R2, hence I2 will be equal to V by R2. In the similar way, I3 will be equal to V by R3. Now we'll substitute all these values in this equation 1. So on substituting, what we'll get? V by R equals to V by R1 plus V by R2 plus V by R3. So taking V as common and we will get cancel out. So what you're left with, 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3, means we can say that the reciprocal of the resultant resistance of three resistors when connected in parallel will be equal to the sum of reciprocals of individual resistance. Now let's discuss numerical based on combination of resistances. The numerical is an electric lamp whose resistance is 20 ohm and a conductor of 4 ohm resistance are connected to a 6 volt battery in series. Calculate the total resistance, the current through the circuit and the potential difference across the electric lamp and the conductor. So here the resistance of lamp and the resistance of conductor are given to be 20 ohm and 4 ohm. So we'll write first of all that thing, that the resistance of lamp here is let us set R1, it is given as 20 ohm, and the resistance of conductor, let it be R2, it is given as 4 ohm. In figure we have shown this is the resistance of a conductor and this is a lamp. They are connected in series with a battery of 6 volt. Now the first part that we have to calculate is the total resistance. Now we know that the two resistors here, that is the conductor and the lamp, they are connected in series. For calculating the total resistance, we'll have to apply the formula for series combination, that is R is equals to R1 plus R2. R1 is 20, R2 is 4. On solving it, you will get the answer to be 24 ohm. So we can say that the total resistance of the circuit will be 24 ohm. Next is the current through the circuit. Now the current, we know that in series the current which is flowing across the different resistors will be same as that of the total current flowing in the circuit. So we'll calculate the total current. For calculating total current, we'll require the value of total resistance and the total potential difference across the battery. So total resistance here we have calculated as 24. Potential difference across the battery is given as 6 volts. So total current is given by the Ohm's law, that is I is equals to V by R. On substituting the values and solving, you will get your answer to be 0.25 ampere. Next is, if total current flowing is 0.25 ampere, so the same current will flow through conductor also and across lamp also. Now next is the potential difference across the electric lamp. Now potential difference, we know that in series potential will be different across different resistors, so different potential will be there across conductor and across lamp. So we'll calculate them separately. First calculate the potential difference across the electric lamp. For calculating the potential difference across electric lamp, will require the value of resistance of the lamp and the current through this lamp. Now resistance of the lamp, it is given as 20 ohm and current through the lamp is 0.25 ampere. So potential difference will be given by V is equals to I into R. So we'll substitute the values here and we'll get the answer to be 5 volt. Next is the potential difference across the conductor. Now the resistance of the conductor is 4 ohm. Current through the conductor is also which is equal to the total current, that is 0.25 ampere. So potential difference across the conductor is also given by V2 is equals to I into R2. On substituting the values and solving, you will get your answer to be 1 volt. Next is, in the given circuit diagram, suppose the resistors R1, R2 and R3 have the values 5 ohm, 10 ohm and 30 ohm respectively. which have been connected to a battery of 12 volt. Now here we have to calculate the current through each resistor, total current in the circuit and the total circuit resistance. Here in this figure, it is shown that resistor R1, R2 and R3 with their values, they are connected in parallel with a battery of 12 volt. Now in parallel we know that the total current flowing is not same. That is, the total current flowing here is I. So I1, I2 and I3 will be the current across the resistors R1, R2 and R3 respectively. So resistance values are given here. R1 is 5 ohm, R2 is 10 ohm, R3 is 30 ohm, and the potential difference across the battery, it is given as 12 volt. Now first part, calculate the current through each resistor. Now current through each resistor will be calculated separately. If we calculate the current through resistor R1, so according to Ohm's law, R1 will be the current through R1, that is I1, is equals to V by R1. So V is 12, R1 is 5. On solving, you'll get it to be 2.4 amperes. In the similar way, current through resistor R2, let it be I2. So I2 will be equal to V by R2. So V is 12, R2 is 10, so we'll get 1.2 amperes. Current through resistor R3, that is I3, will be given by V by R3. V is 12, R3 is 30, so on solving we'll get it to be 0.4 amperes. Next is the total current in the circuit. Now the total current here is equal to the sum of individual current across the three resistors, that is I is equals to I1 plus I2 plus I3. On adding it, we'll get it to be 4 amperes. Last part is the total resistance. Now we know that all the three are connected in parallel, hence the total resistance for parallel combination is given by 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3, where R is the total resistance of the circuit. On substituting the values and solving, we'll get it to be 1 by 3. Now 1 by R is equals to 1 by 3. This is not the answer, this is the value of 1 by R. On reversing it, we will get the value of R, which is equal to 3 ohm. Now next numerical is, in the given figure, calculate the total resistance in the circuit and the total current flowing in the circuit. This is the given figure. Here 4 resistances are given, R1 having 10 ohm, R2 40 ohm, R3 30 ohm, R4 20 ohm and R5 60 ohm. They all are connected across the battery of 12 volt. Now the very first part, we have to calculate the total resistance in the circuit. For calculating the total resistance, first of all, though, it must be clear to us whether they are in series or are in parallel. Then only we'll be able to apply the formula to calculate total resistance here. Now if we see that R1 and R2, they are connected between these 2 points, so we can say that R1 and R2 are connected in parallel. In the similar way, R3, R4 and R5, they are also connected between these 2 common points. So we can say that R3, R4 and R5 are again in series. So let us assume that RA is the equivalent resistance when R1 and R2 are connected in parallel. So for the we know the formula to calculate the equivalent resistance in case of parallel combination. So 1 by RA is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. R1 is 10 ohm, R2 is 40 ohm. On solving it, we'll get it to be 1 by 8. Now this 1 by 8 is the value of 1 by RA. So RA will be equal to 8 ohm. Next is, I have stated that these three will also be in parallel. So let RB be the equivalent resistance when R3, R4 and R5 are connected in parallel. So 1 by RB is equals to 1 by R3 plus 1 by R4 plus 1 by R5. R3 is 30 ohm, R4 is 20 ohm, R5 is 60 ohm. So on solving it, we'll get it to be 1 by 10. If 1 by RB is equals to 1 by 10 ohm, so we can say that RB will be equal to 10 ohm. Now next is, if this combination is represented by RA, this combination is represented by RB. So now we have to decide whether RA and RB, they are in series or in parallel. So for that, I have redrawn this diagram for the simplification purpose so that it will be clearly visible. Now we can clearly see that RA and RB, they are connected end to end. That means they are in series. Now if RA and RB are in series, so the equivalent resistance is R, and that is equal to RA plus RB. RA is 8 ohm, RB is 10 ohm. So on solving it, we'll get it to be 18 ohm. Now this is the total resistance of this complete circuit. Second part, we have to calculate the total current. For calculating total current, that is I, we require the value of total voltage, which is 12 volt, and the total resistance, that is 18 ohm. So by substituting all those values, V is 12, R is 18, will get answer to be 1.67 amperes. So we can say that the total current flowing in the circuit, it will be 0.67 amperes. Now next numerical is, show how would you connect three resistors, each of resistance 6 ohm, so that the combination has a resistance of 9 ohm and 4 ohm. That is, here they have given three resistors and each resistor is of value 6 ohm. So we have to combine them in such a manner that in first case the total resistance must be of 9 ohm and in second case the total resistance must be of 4 ohm. For such type of questions, we'll basically go for hit and trial method. So using these three resistors, we can have four possible combinations. So first combination, that all in series, all in parallel, two in parallel with one series, or two in series with one parallel. So one by one we'll try. If 6 resistors are there and if you will connect all of them in series, so it will be 18 ohm, which is not required. If you connect all of them in parallel, that is 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6, that is 1 by 2. So your resistance will be 2 in this case. That is also not required. If we go sorry, if we go for third part, that is 2 in parallel with 1 series. So if you will connect two resistances in parallel, that is 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6, 2 by 6 is equals to 3. So that is 1 by 3. So the resistance will be 3. So when you connect two resistances in parallel, so equivalent resistance will be 3. And when you will connect this in series with the next one, so 6 plus 3 is 9. So we can say that for the first part, that is 9 ohm, we have to connect two resistances in parallel and then in series with the third one. In the similar way, we can have next one, 2 in series. If you will connect 2 in series, 6 plus 6, you will get 12. And when you will connect this in parallel, so for parallel, 1 by 12 plus 1 by 6, what it will be? That is 3 by 12, 1 by 4, or we can say 4. So here in first part, we have to connect two resistances in parallel with one in series, and for the second part, we have to connect two resistances in series with the one in parallel. So this was the about your method. Now how to solve this numerical? Now in order to get a resistance of 9 ohm, we will connect two resistors of 6 ohm in parallel. So here I have connected two resistors of 6 ohm each. They are in parallel because they are connected between the same two points. And then this combination is connected in series with the third resistor. So this we can show also that if you connect two resistances in parallel. So for parallel, we know the formula is 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. On solving it, you will get 1 by 3. But this 1 by 3 is the value of 1 by R. So R will be 3 ohm. Now this is connected in series with the third one. So in series, we know that the formula is R is equals to R1 plus R2. So this is 3. This combination, we got the resistance to be 3. And this is 6 ohm. So on solving it, we'll get our answer to be 9 ohm. So this was the about first part, that we can connect two resistances in parallel with the third one in series. In the similar way, we can solve for second part, that is 4 ohm. So in order to get a resistance of 4 ohm, we connect two resistors of 6 ohm each in series. So here I have connected both of them in series and in parallel with the third one. So if we connect these two in series, so in series we know that the formula is R1 plus R2. They will simply add up, 6 plus 6, 12. So this combination will have a resistance of 12 ohm. Now this 12 ohm resistance is connected in parallel with the 6 ohm resistance, that is 1 by R is equals to 1 by 12 plus 1 by 6. On solving it, we will get it to be 3 by 12, that is 1 by 4. Here I have shown. So on reversing it, so you will get it to be 4 ohm. This was about the second part. In first part, we have connected two resistances in parallel, then in series, and in second part, we will connect two resistances in series with the third one in parallel. Next is domestic electric circuits. That is, we can connect the electric circuit for domestic purpose either in series or in parallel. As we have seen at our home also, that if we want to connect number of bulbs together for decorative purpose during some festival or some occasion, so in that case we are connecting all those bulbs in series. But if we want to connect the bulbs of our home, so at that time we are connecting them in parallel. So let's discuss. Here I have connected all these bulbs in series, and here I have connected all these bulbs in parallel. So this arrangement is the series circuit, and this arrangement shows your parallel circuit. Now we'll discuss about the disadvantages of series circuit and the advantages of parallel circuit. So let's start. The first one, if one device stops working, then rest of the devices also stop working. In series case, suppose if one of the bulb gets fused. So very first thing, so it's quite difficult for us to locate that which bulb is fused. The reason is, if this bulb is fused, so when a bulb will get fused, so its filament will be broken. So at that time the circuit will behave as a open circuit, and in open circuit no current will flow. That is, if one of the bulb get fused, so rest of the bulbs will also not work properly. This is the disadvantage of series combination. But if we talk about parallel combination, if one of the bulb gets fused, so it will not affect the functioning of rest of the bulb. Only this bulb will not glow, but rest of the bulbs will glow. Now, this is the disadvantage of series combination and advantage of parallel combination. Second one, all the devices operated using single switch. In case of series, all the bulbs could be operated using single switch at one time. If I want to switch on one bulb, then also all the bulbs will get switched on. And if I want to switch off one of the bulb, then rest of the bulbs will also get switched off. But in case of parallel combination, if all the devices are operated using separate switch, for that reason if I want to switch off or switch on one of the bulbs, so I can operate that separately also. Third one, appliances do not get same voltage. This we have discussed that in series combination the voltage will get divided equally among the voltage will get divided depending on the resistance value among all the devices connected in series. So if 220 volt we are getting at this point, so every bulb will not get 220 volt. This is the case of bulb I have taken. If we connect number of appliances together in series, then also all the appliances will not get 220 volt supply. In case of parallel, they are connected in parallel. Now in parallel the voltage will remain same. So if we are getting 220 volt AC supply, so every bulb here will get 220 volt. Last one, overall circuit resistance is high. We have studied that in series combination the resistance values will get added, that is R1 plus R2 plus R3. So in that case the total resistance of the circuit, it will become high, and we know that the resistance, it opposes the flow of current. So because of this high value of resistance, appliances will not be able to draw the required amount of current from the circuit. Whereas if we talk about the parallel combination, so in parallel combination the resistance is low. Why it is low? Because 1 by R is equals to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So in this case the total resistance is low, because of which the appliances will be able to draw the required amount of current from the circuit mains. Next is electric power. The rate of electric power is defined as the rate of doing work. This we have studied in 9th standard also, but here we have studied in terms of the electric power. In terms of electricity, we will discuss it here. Now electric power is defined as the rate of doing work, or we can say that it is defined as the work done per unit time. That in a specific period of time, how much work is done, that will define the value of electric power. Now we can define electric power in terms of electric energy also, that it is defined as the rate at which electric energy is consumed, either the amount of work done or the amount of energy consumed. Now mathematically we can represent electric power P as work done W divided by time. taken. So from this we get the value, we get the formula for power, that is P is equals to W by T, or if we want to represent it in terms of energy, so we can represent P as E by T. Next is the SI unit. The SI unit for electric power is watt. We are generally saying that I purchase a bulb of 100 watt. That 100 watt is what? That 100 watt is the electric power of that particular bulb. Now we can represent watt also, that 1 watt is equals to 1 joule divided by 1 second. That means when 1 joule of work is done in 1 second, then electric power is said to be 1 watt. This is the smaller unit, which is basically the SI unit for electric power is watt, but this is the smaller unit. For commercial purpose, we basically use the bigger unit of power, that is kilowatt. Now 1 kilowatt is equals to 1000 watt. Now next we'll derive the formula for power in terms of voltage and current, in terms of current and resistance, in terms of voltage and resistance. Let's start. Now we know that power is equals to work done divided by time taken. Now in the formula for potential difference, we have studied that potential difference is equals to work done by charge. So from that we can write this formula in terms of work done. So we'll get work done will be equal to B into Q. In the similar way, we have studied the formula for current, that I is equals to Q by T. So we can write this formula in terms of charge, that is Q is equals to I into T. Now we'll substitute this value of Q here in the formula for work done. So what we'll get? Work done will be equal to B. Instead of Q, I can write I into T. Now we'll substitute this value of work done here in this equation. So we'll get P is equals to B into I into T divided by T. T will get cancelled out. We'll left with P is equals to B into I. This was about the formula for power in terms of voltage and current. Next is the formula for power in terms of current and resistance. So we'll start from here, that power is equals to V into I. Now here what we want in terms of current and resistance, the current is already there. So what we want, instead of voltage, what we want? Resistance. So using Ohm's law, we'll substitute the value of V. So V is equals to IR, we'll substitute this value here. So what we'll get? I square into R. So this is the second formula for power in terms of current and resistance. Third one, again we'll start from here. Here I and V is there, but what we want? V and R. That means we want to replace the value of I here. So using Ohm's law, we'll substitute the value of I, that is I is equals to V by R. So what we'll get? V into V by R, that is V square by R. This is the third formula for power in terms of voltage and resistance. Next is electric energy. From this formula, we can say that P is equals to E by T. So I can write this formula in terms of energy, that is E is equals to P into T. Now the unit of energy we all know is joule, but here we'll talk about the commercial unit of energy, which is equal to kilowatt hour. Next is heating effect of electric current. Now what basically the heating effect of electric current? This is that when heating effect is produced in a conductor because of current, so that is known as heating effect of electric current. Now if we consider one example, suppose when current passes through an electric bulb, so what will happen? If you will touch that bulb, so it appears to be warm. In the similar way, if you operate a fan for longer duration and if you will touch that fan, then that also appears to be warm. This is known as heating effect of electric current. Now how this effect will produce heat? Now whenever current will pass through a conductor, so some of the charges, they will work in doing some useful work, but rest of the energy, that means if we are supplying some energy with the help of this battery, then some of the energy is utilized in the current and rest of the energy that is dissipated as heat. This is your heating effect of electric current. Now if we want to determine the amount of heat produced or the magnitude of heat produced, so how we can calculate that? So we'll derive the formula for heat produced with the help of this equation. Now here, if we consider a conductor XY which is having resistance R ohm, and if the potential difference across these two ends of a conductor is V volt, that is applied by the battery. And if the current I here flows in this conductor. Now if we assume that this current I flows through this conductor XY for some time duration, let us suppose it is t seconds. So during that time duration, charges will get transferred here. Now the amount of electric charge that will transfer from point X to point Y is given by Q is equals to I into T. Now we have studied the formula for potential difference is equals to W by Q. So from this formula we can determine the value of from current. I is equals to Q by T. From this formula we can determine the value of Q, that is Q is equals to I into T, because charge here is flown because of the current. Now when the charges moves against potential difference, here the charges are moving against the direction of potential difference, then some amount of work is done. Now that magnitude of work is given by V into Q. That V is the potential difference and Q is the charge. Now we can write the value of V using Ohm's law as V is equals to I into R. Now here what we'll do, we'll substitute the value of charge, we'll substitute the value of potential difference from equation 1 and 3 in equation 2. So what we'll get, work done here, it will be equal to I into R into I into T. So this will give you I square into R into T. This is the amount of work done. Now if we assume that most of the work it is dissipated in the form of heat, so we can say that the magnitude of work done and the heat produced will be equal. So from this we can say that heat produced will be equal to I square into R into T. Now this mathematical equation is also known as Joule's law of heating. Joule's law of heating, it states that the heat produced in a conductor is directly proportional to the square of current flowing through the conductor. Heat is directly proportional to the resistance of the conductor, and heat is directly proportional to the time period for which current is allowed to pass. So this is stated by Joule's law of heating. Next is about the applications of heating effect of electric current. We can have number of applications of heating effect of electric current. The very first application if we talk about is the electric heating appliances. We are using number of heating appliances at our home. Suppose oven is there, heater is there, geyser is there. So all those appliances, they work on the heating effect of electric current. Now how it will work? All these appliances, they consist of high resistance coil of made up of alloy. Basically we are using nichrome as a alloy for making that coil. Now that coil is known as heating element. So when the current passes through that heating element, so that heating element will dissipate maximum amount of heat, because of which our heating appliances will work properly. In the similar way we can have electric bulb. Now electric bulb also work on the heating effect of electric current. Now electric bulb comprise of the filament which is made up of tungsten. Now this filament, it also dissipates heat, but this electric bulb is not that much efficient. The reason is because in case of electric bulb, the energy which is supplied to the filament of the bulb, most of that energy is dissipated in the form of heat but not in the form of light. Light emit is also there, but that is not maximum. So because of that reason this is not efficient. For that reason we are using CFLs. Next is electric fuse. Now electric fuse is a safety device. Now electric fuse comprise of a wire, thin wire which is made up of tin or lead. Now this wire, when large amount of current flows through the circuit, so because of that current, this wire melts and will get breakdown. When this wire will get breakdown, so it behaves as an open circuit and it will cut off the supply of the complete home, we can say. Now and hence it can protect our circuit. This was about the heating effect and the applications of heating effect of electric current. Now let's discuss numericals based on heating effect and power. Calculate the heat produced when 96,000 coulombs of charge is transferred in 1 hour through a potential difference of 50 volt. So here The amount of charge here is given as 96,000 coulombs. Time is given as 1 hour. Potential difference is given as 50 volt. And we have to calculate the amount of heat produced. So it is already in coulomb, no need to convert. It is already in volt, no need to convert. But time here is in hour. What we want, it should be in seconds. So we'll convert time from 1 hour into seconds. That will comes to be 3600 seconds. Now we have to calculate the amount of heat produced. Now the formula of heat that is known to us is H is equals to I square into R into T. But if we'll compare this formula with the given or the initials that are given in the statement of question. So I is there, but I is not given. R is also there. R is also not with us. Only the time is with us. So first of all, we'll calculate the value of current. Then we'll calculate the value of resistance, and then finally we'll substitute their values in the formula to calculate the amount of heat produced. Now first of all, current. Now charge and time are given. So we'll calculate current from the formula that I is equals to Q by T. On substituting these values and solving, we'll get answer to be 26.67 ampere. Next is the resistance. Now current from here we have calculated. Potential difference is given, so we'll calculate resistance using Ohm's law that R is equals to V by I. On substituting the value of V and I and then further solving it, we'll get it to be 1.87 ohm. This is the value of resistance, and we calculate current also. Now we'll substitute the value of I, R and T in this formula to calculate heat produced. Then on substituting the values and solving, we'll get answer this. That is 4788,400 joule. We can convert this thing in kilojoule also. Then you'll get 4788.4 kilojoules. Next is your second numerical. That is an electric bulb is rated 220 volt and 100 watt. What will be the power consumed when it is operated on 110 volt? An electric bulb is given here, whose ratings are, that means its potential difference is 220 volt and power is 100 watt. So we have to specify that what will be the power consumed when we operate this bulb on 110 volt instead of 220 volt. So two cases we can consider it as, one is this and the other is this. So in first case the potential difference is given as 220 volt, power is given as 100 volt. Now how to calculate this thing? Only these formulas of power are known to us. This also we can't use because here for calculating power we need potential difference and current. Potential difference is given but current is not given. If we talk about this, then also current is not given. So we'll go for the third formula, that power is equals to V square by R. Why we select this formula? Because resistance is also not given. So first of all we'll calculate the value of resistance using first case. The reason behind calculating the value of resistance is that only the potential difference across the bulb is changed and nothing, and not the components or the material of that bulb. That bulb is the same only. So we know that resistance will depend on length, area of cross section, nature of material and temperature, but we are not varying any of those factors. So we can say that the resistance of bulb, it will remain same. So using first case, we'll calculate the value of resistance. Now R will calculate from the formula that R is equals to, from here, V square by P. On solving, we'll get it to be 484 ohm. This is the value of resistance of the bulb. Now in second case, potential difference is given as 110 volt. And resistance of the bulb from here we have calculated, that is 484 ohm. Now we have to calculate the power. Again we'll use the formula for power, that is P is equals to V square by R. On substituting the values of R and V here in this formula, will get answer to be 25 watt. So we can say that when the bulb is operated on 110 volt, the power consumed by the bulb will be 25 watt. Now next is, an electric heater draws a current of 10 ampere from a 220 volt supply. What is the cost of using the heater for 5 hours every day for 30 days if the cost of 1 unit is rupees 5.20. So here the value of current is given, potential difference is given, time is given, that it is operated for 5 hours, and the cost of electricity here is given to be rupees 5.20 per unit. Now the potential difference is given as 220 volt, current is given as 10 ampere, time is given as 5 hours. Now for calculating the total cost of energy consumption of this electric heater, first of all, the energy consumption of this heater must be known to us. For calculating the energy consumed by the heater, the formula is E is equals to P into T. For calculating this, now the commercial unit of electric energy that we are using is kilowatt hour. If we want that energy should be in kilowatt hour, for that power should be in kilowatt, time should be in hour. So time to is already here in hour, so we'll calculate power in kilowatt. For calculating power, the formula is V into I. On substituting the value of V and I and solving, we'll get it to be 2200 watt. Now it is in watt. What we want, it should be in kilowatt. For calculating it in for converting it in kilowatt, we'll divide it by 1000 and we'll get 2.2 kilowatt. Now we got the value for power. Time is already given. Now we can calculate the energy consumed by this electric heater. This energy consumed, E, will be given by P into T. So first of all, we'll calculate the energy consumed by electric heater in 1 day. Now in 1 day it is operated for 5 hours, so energy is given as 2.2 into 5, that is 11 kilowatt hour. Now it is operated total for 30 days, so now we will calculate the energy consumed by the electric heater in 30 days, that is 11 into 30, 330 kilowatt hour. Now the cost of 1 unit of electricity is given as rupees 5.20. 1 unit and 1 kilowatt hour is one and the same thing. Basically we are using the term unit for this 1 kilowatt hour. Now the cost of 1 unit of electricity is given as rupees 5.20 and total we have 330 units. So we'll calculate the cost of 330 unit of electricity by multiplying 330 with 5.20. On solving, we'll get it to be rupees 1716. That means this electric heater, when operated for 5 hours for 30 days, so it will the cost of energy consumed by this electric heater will be rupees 1716. With this, the chapter electricity is over. I hope that you liked this video and you understood the topics explained by me here in this video. Thank you.